Android is forked. There are so many versions of it, from stock Android to Google's own Pixel First Edition to Samsung's One UI 4 overlay. There are enough variants of it to overrun the Time Variance Authority. That means that writing a review for Android 12 is a complicated task. With so many branded and device-specific tweaks, it can be hard at times to differentiate core Android features from the window dressing. The land of Android is messy, but we're going to keep this review simple. If you want an idea of the Pixel-only features, head on over to our Pixel 6 review, where I covered things like Live Translate and Magic Eraser. Things like HDRNet videos and white balance controls are exclusive to Pixels, but that doesn't mean they won't roll out more widely someday. Functionally, that means there isn't much obviously different for those on other devices upgrading to Android 12. The biggest change will be the new Material You design, and the way this looks will depend on your phone's maker. On One UI 4, for example, Samsung retains its font face, dated icon styles and themes that Galaxy users will find familiar. You get something similar to Material You by way of Samsung's whole host of new color palettes, but these aren't automatically generated by the phone based on your wallpaper. One UI 4 and Android 12 both also offer new widgets that look much better and offer more customization options than before. So Android 12 is a nice visual change, but it does go beyond aesthetics and affects how you interact with the rest of the system. Sliders and buttons are larger than before, which some people might find ugly compared to the cleaner, thinner options of Android's past. So after having lived with this new style since the beta launched a few months ago, I've gotten used to the extra chunky navigational elements. In fact, in some apps like the clock, the bigger targets are actually easier to see, and I can hit the snooze slider more easily from bed. They even look pretty thanks to Material You. There's plenty of little things that Google added throughout Android 12 that would just take forever to cover in depth, like new animations across the interface and updated limits to toast dialogues. These are the little boxes that pop up at the bottom of the screen when you, say, copy text to your clipboard, for example. But I'll just focus on a few of the more obvious changes, starting with the Quick Settings panel and Notification Shade. In general, Google's been busy decluttering. It removed these redundant notifications and conversations, labels and headers from the notifications list that just takes up extra lines. It also uses a background color now that's more similar to the cards, so it makes everything blend more smoothly. The Quick Settings panel up top has a black background and just 4 buttons compared to the 6 from before, which means you now need an extra swipe to access things like battery saver or auto rotate. Of course, you can rearrange this to put your favorites first, but you'll only be able to pick 4. I also don't love that Android 12 will default to summoning Google Assistant when you long press the power button, the way I have it set up on this Pixel 6 Pro, where Android 12 is just baked in by default. But at least you can revert to a 4-option panel to access restart, power, lock, or emergency buttons. One of the most common ways I interact with my phone is by tapping the search bar at the bottom and then typing either the name of an app that I want or the show I'm about to watch. Nothing's changed just here since Android 11. You'll still see your recent entries and suggested apps when you hit the text field. But the search bar in the All Apps drawer, which requires a swipe up, offers Android's universal search. This will let you find things on your phone, including not just apps or contacts, but also conversations and actions within supported apps as well. Most of the changes in Android 12 I've described so far are in your face, and you encounter them daily as you interact with the system. Others, like the privacy dashboard and battery usage pages, are things you'll specifically have to look for. That means they'll be less impactful on your daily use, but they are, for the most part, informative. The privacy dashboard helped me realize that my camera and mic are activated a lot, and it showed me the apps that use them the most often. Speaking of those two, Android 12 also provides new indicators for when your mic and your camera are being used via a green dot at the top right corner of the screen. Although it doesn't appear when the mic is on in the background and listening for your assistant hot word or nearby songs, for example. So this is basically the same as on iOS. On the battery status page, you'll get a graph showing your power levels for the last 24 hours, and honestly, this thing's a little hard to comprehend. The axes are like poorly labeled with just, in this case, the numbers 71717 to show you the time of day horizontally, and then just 150 and 0% being the vertical markers. I found myself ignoring this graph most of the time, and instead I dug into how much time I spent on apps like Instagram, Chrome, Photos, and more. In the months I've been using Android 12, I've seen more apps ask for permission to access my specific or approximate location. I almost never selected the latter, although it is nice to have the option for things like the weather app. In general, though, I relied on the allow this time or allow while using choices more as a way to grant limited permissions to apps. Google will also tell you after some time which apps you haven't used in a while, and it'll automatically revoke permissions for those, which is nice. That's pretty much it for the new Android 12 features. I've been waiting to see an app that uses the new audio-coupled haptic feedback since I enjoy the sensation it adds to games I've played on the iPhone 13 Pro. But there don't appear to be any at the moment. Google is also constantly pushing out security and stability updates for Android 12, so maybe there are still more features to come? Ultimately, the biggest things Android 12 brings are material you design and more privacy tools. That might seem minor on paper, but the visual refresh and infusion of faster animations throughout the system make it feel drastically different. Plus, Google continues to drop feature sets every quarter or so, meaning every new version of Android doesn't have to be as major of an upgrade. But if you've been looking for a fresh face for your phone, Android 12 is a fun and satisfying update. For reviews of iOS devices, Android devices, and more, make sure you subscribe to Engadget. And as always, thank you for watching.